I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and 21 years after Audi introduced the first Q7, it's ready to introduce something bigger. This is the new Q9, Audi's first truly full-size SUV. Naturally, it's targeted mainly at the American market, but it will also be sold in Australia, in Europe, and in China. It's meaningfully bigger than a Q7, 25 centimeters longer. The boot is significantly bigger, and the interior is even more luxurious. Essentially, the Q9 replaces the old Audi A8 firmly at the top of the four-ringed brand's range. In today's video, I'm going to show you everything about the new Q9. We can't drive it yet, but I can show you all the little details of this car's exterior and interior. We'll check out the first, second, and third row of this sumptuous six-seater. We'll have a look at the boot space. I'll explain what's going on under the skin and under the bonnet, because some markets will keep a V8 in this car, and then I'll let you know my verdict from my first impressions. But before we get started, hit subscribe below. Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by Budget Direct. Now, as is becoming de rigueur in the luxury car segment, the Q9 naturally has electric doors. Onto the interior of the Audi Q9. Perhaps unsurprisingly, well, it is effectively the top version of Audi's current interior design language. The basic shapes here we saw initially on the Q5 and the A5. However, Audi has really dialed up the effect to the 10th degree here for the Q9. What I mean by that is better, higher quality, more sumptuous materials. Firstly, because this car replaces the A8, it's the top of the range. But secondly, because everyone's been complaining about Audi downgrading their interior quality in recent years. While it would be way too expensive for Audi to rip out this design language and start fresh, what they can do is upgrade bits and bobs to make it feel more luxurious, and that's what they've done. You might notice in front of me this round steering wheel with some silver detailing. Crucially, the airbag hub has actually been stitched in leather. Looking at that and feeling that immediately makes it feel more expensive. The steering wheel too has pleasantly clicky buttons, which have made their return, plus scroll wheels for things like the volume and controlling the display in front of the driver. So too, the materials that run down the doors and the center console are now stitched leather. The tops of the doors and the dashboard is genuine leather with stitching. So Audi finally bringing back some of that expense that you're paying for, because this is of course not going to be a cheap car. The passenger also gets a screen. That has become a feature now expected in this segment. You can see some secondary trim in textile here, but there has been a real focus on some natural materials for the Q9, including this open pore wood, which you can get in various colors, and even stone trim in the Q9 this time around, which is pretty cool. The seats are big, sumptuous, comfortable, and very, very adjustable. You can just tell you can do hours in this car, and I look forward to testing that. Leather colors and non-leather versions are available in different selections too. The sunroof, I'm happy to see that it can still be opened. That's a feature which has become surprisingly rare. It is also fitted with integrated ambient lighting, and it can be dimmed. So this sunroof can really do everything, and it's joined by a soft Alcantara or Dinamica headliner on this version too. This particular Q9 is an advanced trim, so it's effectively the plush trim, which lets us see all the features. A couple of other notes before we move to the back. Love the fact that wireless chargers actually have the MagSafe for iPhones here, so your phone won't actually slide off the pad. That's a brilliant idea we're starting to see in a few cars. Also love the fact that we've got here 4 real physical controls for opening the windows. Simple stuff. All right, let's go to row 2. Here in the second row, we're sitting on an amazing seat. The backrest actually looks like it could be in the front seat of a luxury car. It is so sumptuous, befitting of the Q9's new status as the range topper. Now this one is outfitted in Premier 6-seat configuration, which has captain's chairs here in the back. I know that's a controversial feature, with walk-through access to the third row. The reason the Q9 has this is because 6-seater configurations are really popular in the US and China, which are 2 focus markets for the Q9. Australians tend to be a bit more practical, but you can sub these out for a bench seat to bring the seating capacity to 7. Back here, naturally, we have a few toys. We've got 4-zone climate control, which Q7s have had for years, cup holders, some storage down here, USB power, of course, air vents in the B pillars and in the center as well, but not prominent rear entertainment. But is the third row comfortable enough? So the theory is your kids will be able to jump in here with this configuration, not worry about folding the seats. And you can actually take these armrests off from the captain's chairs to create a little bit more room. So you can walk through to the third row. There is space enough for adults. Now, none of these huge SUVs are amazing in terms of their 3-row capacity. Neither is the Q9, but it is more spacious than a Q7. That's the point back here. So if you do have a big family and you need to occasionally put children into the third row, this is ultimately going to be a better choice. Moving around the back, I think this might be the strongest angle of the new Q9. You can see these really strong muscular shoulders, the bulging out of the wheel arches, which are even more significant on the SQ9, and this remarkably minimal tailgate design with the number plate pushed down into the rear bumper, which frees up all of this sheet metal here. It's really quite different to a Q7 in that regard. This color, Waitomo blue, is quite attractive. But there's also 2 greens on the palette, including a midnight green, which I would probably specify. The power tailgate gets out of the way promptly and reveals a boot which is viably sized even with all 3 rows in place. Beneath that boot floor, you'll find really just a bunch of gubbins, the subwoofer, tire repair kit, your first aid kit and that sort of thing. We can drop the seats from here in the boot. It's done with power adjustment, of course. Now, if you go for the 6-seat version, the middle row can't be reclined flat. They just sort of push forward. However, if you opt for a 7-seat Q9, you can actually fold them all flat and have a truly massive boot. Of course, power controls to shut that tailgate, or you can lock the car from right here, which means it's time for us to talk about the engines. In terms of powertrain, the new Audi Q9 is a rare car in 2026 in that it will be launched without an electric version and only with large combustion engines. We already know there will be 2 3-litre turbocharged V6 diesel versions, one with 180 kilowatts of power and one with 220 kilowatts of power, while various markets around the world will also be offered 2.9 and 3-litre turbo V6 petrol engines. Later, there will also be a 3-litre turbo V6 plug-in hybrid, plus there'll be an SQ9, which we expect to have 440 kilowatts of power and 800 newton meters of torque from its 4-litre twin-turbo petrol V8. In terms of what we're expecting Australia to receive, the 220 kilowatt diesel V6 looks like a shoe-in, and we do understand that Audi is making its best attempts to bring the V8 SQ9 to Australia as well, but expect to see the plug-in hybrid forming a plank of the lineup over time. So what is the verdict of my first impressions getting to crawl all over the new Audi Q9 here today? Firstly, I think it looks good. I think Audi has actually nailed the exterior proportions of this car. For me, big SUVs are meant to look like big SUVs. They shouldn't shy away from their size or their sculpting. This one's big, it's long, it's heavy, and it looks muscular. For people that genuinely want or need a full-size crossover, the Audi Q9 has the right appearance for me. Now, that classic elegance of Audi interiors gone by is something that I think the company is still finding its way back to. But it is good to see some quality improvements coming through on the cabin of the Q9 compared to some of the brand's other recent efforts. Now, the proof, as always, is going to be in the driving. The BMW X7 continues to be the leader in this segment for driving dynamics. But Audi's talking a big game about how the Q9 is going to ride and handle. We'll be driving it later this year, so make sure you hit subscribe on this video to catch that. Let me know your thoughts below, and as always, thank you for watching Chasing Cars.